in all this evidence, and people will still bring up other claims. I know that we're gonna get into that Jesus is a copycat of other dying and rising gods, and I don't want to move past that. Let's get into that. So, is Jesus a copy of other rising gods? Like, this not exclusive to Christ. Rising from the dead, spending 40 days with the disciples, eating fish and doing all this amazing stuff. This is not exclusive to him. He wasn't the first person to do this. Why would we worship this dude? He's not the first person. He's like the 5th or the 10th or the 100th person that did this in history. Is this claim true?
Well, again, like what I said before, when someone makes that claim, you're not responsible for backing up that claim. The person making the claim has to now show and prove, not you. But besides that, is there any, credence to this claim? Well, you're going to have to go into, again, another question you can ask someone. It's like, okay, you saying that Jesus is like Horus. Would those people at that time, would they see the same things you're seeing? Right?
Yeah.
Because in the ancient Kemetic people, the thing that's very interesting is they would probably ask you, well, which Horus you speak of? Because there's at least 4 iterations of Horus, right? There's the vengeful Horus, there's Horus the elder, and Horus of the horizon, and Horus the child. Now, if I was to stillman their argument, stillman an argument means to make someone else's argument stronger and still be able to knock it down, right? Your best bet is Horus the child, right? Jesus, quote unquote, is plagiarizing from Horus the child, right? Baby Jesus, Horus the child. Problem with that, though, is there's at least 4 different iterations of Horus the child. Which iteration are we talking about? Right? So again, even before we get into some of the main points, there's already some problematic situations going on here because we don't even know which Horus you're talking about. Right? So one of the points that people like to say is that, well, the idea of the virgin birth of Christ comes from the virgin birth of Horus from his mom, Isis, right? Again, let's look at what these ancient people said about Isis and giving birth to Horus. All right, what you see here is a stele. This is the hymn to Osiris. It's preserved in a calcite stele dedicated by Amenes, who lived sometime during the first half of the 18th dynasty, right? BCE, way before, right? Any kind of Christianity, whatever, right? And this is from Ancient Egypt, Facts and Fictions by Stephen E. Thompson. Let's look at the translation of this stele, because it's talking about the birth of Horus. Let's see what this primary artifact says about this birth. It says, Isis the effective, the protector of her brother, who looked for him without ceasing, who traveled this land in mourning. She would not rest before she found him. She made a shadow with her feathers, creating a breeze with her wings, offering praise when her brother moored. She is the one who lifted up the lethargy of the weary-hearted, who received his semen, which created the air, who suckled the child in solitude. His location was unknown. Who revealed him in the court of Geb when he had grown strong. The Ened rejoices, quote, welcome Osiris' son, Horus, stout-hearted, true of voice, son of Isis, heir of Osiris. This is the translation of the Stela talking about the birth of Horus. And it says here that Isis, the mom, received his semen, Osiris' semen, which created the heir, which is Horus. So, this is a family show, right? But we kind of know how, little boys and girls are made now.
Yeah.
Right. And we know that, a woman has to be inseminated in order to have a child. Now, the question is, once a woman has received semen, now, and I know now there's artificial insemination, but we're talking about, the old fashioned way, right? Man and wife, husband, honeymoon, right? Mm-hmm. When a woman receives semen, is she still classified as a virgin?
No. Nope.
Right. So is this a virgin birth?
Not close. Not at all. Zero.
Right. And it's not me saying that. The stele, the ancient people of Kemet are telling you that Isis received semen to give birth to the heir known as Horus. But that's not the only proof we have. Let's go back to what's known as the Coffin Text. Now, the Coffin Text is actually a precursor to the Book of the Dead, right? Because at first you would have what's known as the Pyramid Text. So all them spells that helps you get through the duat into the afterlife, they would write it on the walls. Then from there, they would put it on the coffin. As you can see, you see all this various writing. Those are the spells. And then after that, they would start putting it in these books, right? So this is known as the Coffin Text. This specific spell is numbered 148. It's called the Conception of Horus. These texts are intended to provide the successful transition to the afterlife of a deceased Egyptian. The purpose of these texts is stated in the title, to allow the deceased to become exalted. The Egyptians believed that the dead could transform themselves into any number of forms necessary to escape enemies in the afterworld and ascend to the world of the gods. Now, the previous stele is what was told about Isis. In this spell, they actually quote the goddess herself. So what I'm about to read, this translation is a quote coming from Isis. This is Isis speaking about the birth of Horus. And this is what she says. Oh, gods, I am Isis, the sister of Osiris, who wept on account of the father of the gods, Osiris, who parted the slaughter of the two lands. His semen is inside my body. I have knitted the form of a god in the egg as my son, foremost of the Ened, who will rule this land, who will inherit from Geb, who will speak for his father, who will slay Seth, the enemy of his father, Osiris. Come, O gods, may you provide his protection within my uterus. Know in your hearts that this God who is in his egg is your Lord, the blue-haired one, the form of the Lord of the gods, who are great and beautiful, adorned with two plumes of lapis lazuli. After the blast of the meteorite, such that even the gods fear, Isis awoke pregnant by the seed of her brother Osiris. Thus the woman raised herself abruptly, her heart pleased with the seed of her brother Osiris. Coffin spell 148 by Robert H. O'Connor. So this is the goddess herself speaking. She is saying that she received semen from Osiris. So once again, is this a virgin birth?
Not at all.
Now, don't take my word for it. Don't beef with me. Your beef is with the goddess Isis, because this is what she is saying.
True.
She is saying that she got knocked up. Wasn't no Holy Spirit. There was none of that. None of that. She received actual semen to create Horus.
Right.
Now, so as we see, there is no virgin birth. But what about, the death and resurrection?
Yeah. And this virgin birth is like extremely different from Mary's virgin birth. Mary,
that's true too.
Attitudes and the aggression that she has. Mary didn't have that type of aggression. Mary's like, okay, Lord, I will do your will. And she had a humble approach. She was like excited. Right. She wanted it. She was looking forward to it. But she's like extremely paranoid, trying to see how to put things together, trying to figure things out.
Right.
And she had this burden.
Isis was a boss. She's telling the other guys what to do. You better come down here. You better protect what's in my uterus.
Right.
This is going to be your Lord. He's going to kill this person. He's going to...
He gonna be a massacre when he come out. Watch out for this guy.
Right. So, no, totally. So her attitude, no, you're right. Not only is there no virgin birth, but her whole attitude about the birth itself is vastly different than Mary's. Yeah. So that's a great point. So, but what about